So I'm scrolling through my phone's camera roll when I come across pictures of me from around this time, where I had a pretty good middle part and quite a good bit of facial hair too. You can't really tell. A lot's changed since then. I got rid of the middle part. I shave now. I don't have facial hair. And I don't quite listen to the same music I used to. Again, I've changed. But the only way for me to remember that was by having a record of the old to compare myself to. You see, if we don't have a record of the old to compare ourselves to, well then change becomes something we only tell ourselves. We gaslight ourselves into believing, rather than it being something we can actually see in ourselves and know. Let me give you an example. Let's jump back maybe 5 years, so around COVID. I'll wager a good number of you probably don't remember that well. The only way for you to prove who you used to be are through stories. And what happens through stories is over time they get jumbled up, they get mixed up, mix, mash, spread on a baking pan, baked at 350 for 15 minutes. And in the end, it becomes something entirely different than what it used to be. So, you probably get the gist of this story, right? You get the gist of the presentation, and I could stop here. But I'm not, because I didn't realize that. When I was growing up, naturally, my family took care of documenting my life for me. And then COVID hit, and then I didn't, even though I was old enough to document my own life. You see, again, I was 10, and even though I had all the imagination in the world of who I wanted to be, the things I wanted to do, the people I wanted to meet, I couldn't. Because, I was 10, I was broke, and it was COVID. There were many good reasons as to why I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. So, for that reason, I kind of just didn't document my life. And at the time, I lost the spark for music, but I picked up a whole lot of other things. I spent more time with friends, I visited new places. And even though I have all the stories in the world of what happened during that time, well, they're gone. Because I never captured it. By the time I realized that, COVID ended and I was in 6th grade. I just started middle school. So I decided to tell myself something needed to change. I needed to make something different. So I started to take out my phone and take a picture of anything. Whether that were the world around me, my dogs, my food, anything and everything. And I thank my lucky stars I did that, because I realized some of the things that I took precious media of would all be gone in the blink of an eye one day. In doing that, I picked up my journey back into music. I made what I still believe to be one of the best decisions of my life by picking up the tuba in 6th grade. And those pictures didn't just capture my first notes of 6th grade or my last notes of 8th grade, but every step in between. And while I was taking those pictures, I also learned that I could tell a story through pictures and I could tell a story through music. So I decided to write music of my own. And along with that came my hobby for arranging music. On a whim, I decided to arrange one of my favorite songs at the time, Biba Doobie's Glue Song. It's a short and a sweet song about being close to a person you love. That's why it's called the Glue Song. I don't know why you would call it anything else if it weren't that, right? And I took it to my chorus teacher, Miss Berkey, who at the time had just started following my music journey. Her class's choir concert was soon, and she needed one more song to fill the gap. So I finished it and I showed it to her, and she was like, you know what? We could use this for our concert. So we used it. And after that, it changed practically all of the time I spent in middle school. Suddenly, I was spending my free time in chorus class, a class I didn't even take, by the way, just so I could play music, talk music, or sometimes, if I were lucky, teach the music. And the performance came and went. I did other things, but I still didn't listen to myself. So after realizing that, I sat down. I was like, what was missing? Something needs to change again, because obviously this wasn't working out. So I sat down and I thought for a really long while. And then I realized, hey, there's words in music. Could I use the words from my brain? So I dug around the house and found just some cheap pocket journal, something I could take around with me. That came with me everywhere. That went to and from church with me, to and from school, around the house, just going out in general. That journal was like my best friend. I took notes, I journaled, I doodled, I passed notes around the classroom with it. It was my pocket companion. And that's when I learned that while pictures, videos can capture where I was, writing could capture who I was. Especially now, with the advent of technology, we have the opportunity to document ourselves whenever, whatever, and most importantly, however. We have technology everywhere. We have technology on our wrists, in our pockets, on our laps, on our desks, wherever. Probably even places where you don't realize, right? And if we have technology at our fingertips, if we have every way to document ourselves at our fingertips, we have more chances, more time, more places, then riddle me this, Batman. If we can capture ourselves anywhere, however, whatever, then why don't we? Time will come where future you wants to look back on who you used to be. And without something to aid them, well then you'll remember those things perfectly rather than honestly. And time will pass along with those memories. So it wouldn't hurt just to have a little glimpse of how you came to be. Thank you.